for those that are new, the pre-show is just kind of our like just chatting time frame where we get to know you guys, have some fun, you get to know us, and then of course the actual show starts at 7. But that said, one of the like, because this is just happening right now, they are temporarily disabling player creation, or character creation across all regions, with almost no information. Just, there will be more soon. So I got nothing on that one. I'm curious what you guys think is the actual problem that they're trying to solve that disabling character creation might fix. Because that's a new one. I haven't. Normally it's the trading post or player-to-player trading or something like that, but disabling all character creation across all regions is an interesting decision. Or it could be another fire drill like earlier this week where they disabled player-to-player trading for 4 hours just to find out that the UI was messing with people. Maybe bots. I could see it, could be anti-botting. Maybe they're trying to put something in place to prevent the creation of new bots. Adding a new feature where we can change our character. That'd be an interesting one. Yeah, it's an interesting problem set, that's for sure. Why don't Amazon officials take any action regarding the ban? Which ban? Too many macro users and bots? I'm honestly surprised that there hasn't been much more aggressive action going against bots, because they're super prevalent. Absolutely super prevalent. Like, I don't think anybody can argue that it's not a huge problem. Like, it's at the point where bots are fighting each other for resources, which is kind of comical, but in a bad way. I know they're trying to fight botting. That said, there's a lot of things on their plate to try and fix. Maybe this is it. Maybe this is their opportunity to hammer down on botting. Yeah, some of the macros are a bit much. Like if you can ace the animation cancel and all that 100% of the time, it makes for a very, very challenging opponent. I know I had somebody I was fighting the other day in Outpost Rush who very clearly had just the right set of stuff that they had timed, that they just wouldn't take any damage, and when we actually got into a fight, they were absolute trash and got dumpstered. But it was quite surprising. Yeah, I can't wait for them to nerf the rapier one day. Yeah, that'll be a fun one. That'll be a fun one to talk about, because like I know a lot of people, from our last show when we talked about New World last week there, there was a lot of people that were upset with the way that we covered the nerf to the bow. and some people more upset than others. Mostly people who main bow didn't understand that we were arguing you can either have an insanely high alpha or you can have an insanely high DPS. One or the other. Not both in the instance of the bow prior to the nerf. And we got some a healthy amount of shit over our coverage on that one. And yeah. It'll be fun to see when the rapier gets nerfed, because that one's super prevalent, or when the Void Gauntlet finally gets nerfed, because that one too has quite a bit of overpoweredness behind it. Yeah, Void Gauntlet's very broken at the moment. You go Void Gauntlet Rapier, that's a pretty trying combo. Otherwise, I've seen Void Gauntlet Ice Gauntlet is another one for the escape on the built into that one. Yeah. I'm still thinking that the game overall needs a pretty solid nerf to HP. Like, if you're not running Constitution, there should be a pretty solid nerf to your HP, so that, like, the problem right now is that you can go 300 points into into strength and still have 200 points to put into con and still be very competitive. Or 300 points into anything and 200 extra to throw into con. And I just think that nerfing health pots would go a long way. I'm still looking forward to them changing the way healing works, so that healing circles are colored, so that you'll know which ones are friendly and which ones aren't. Like, that's another one that's kind of painful, especially in larger fights. I personally just think that there should be a difference between being a glass cannon and a tank. And right now, unfortunately, you can be have the 300 points in an ability and also still have 200 points into being a tank. Yeah, and the rapier is just bonkers right now. Like, there's some counter to it, but I think, like, repost is very powerful. I think one of the challenges with repost is that you can also change directions. So, like, you don't have to go in a straight line with it, which makes it even weirder. I think it should lock you in one direction. Yeah. It does have too much invulnerability, yeah. One thing I can say is that Outpost Rush appears like they've got some pretty solid fixes on the horizon. So, like, I've got some hopes on that front. So, like, right now, like, 3/4 of the games being played are all ending very early compared to what they should be. And, like, one of the huge changes that's coming based on the updates to the PTR is that they're adding basically exactly what I've been suggesting for the last 2 weeks, or 3 weeks even. Instead, so the first patch, they added the wall. So, okay, you can at least spawn in there, and if the whole enemy team is camping out there and trying to camp you into your base, you can just choose not to die over and over again. Okay, that's one way to do it. Well, they realized that actually created a worse choke point than before. So now they've turned around and said, okay, instead of one wall, now you have 3. So now you can't, it's going to be very difficult to camp a team into their spawn. And actually, I really agree with that, mostly because it was my idea. First game I played, I was like, this can be fixed by just adding more doors. I'm also of the mindset that I don't really like the doors. I don't like the pane press to go through. And I've said this about the design of the attackers' camps as well. For wars, I personally think that the camps should be designed as a ramp, so that you can run out, but you can't come back in, unless you go through a door. I think that would be another. If I had to fix wars in one particular way, that's one way I would do it. It would also give a platform for musket users to more consistently use the shoot from inside the base.
Hey, you guys.
Hey,
hear me?
Yep.
Nice.
I need you to share a screen too.
Oh, did it drop? Ah, shit. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Give me a second.
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
There we go. There it is.
I hope everybody's doing good out there.
Yeah. Got a good crowd tonight, so I'm always happy with that. Yeah, it's a good time. I've got hopes for things getting fixed. I think the number one priority, and this has been, I know there's a ton of people that haven't seen this still, but it is really important for people to see. They released an hour and a half long dev roundtable type thing, and they're recording another session, or they just finished recording another session the other day. Wow, over 500 hours from most people in the poll. Holy Moses.
Yeah, I think I'm past 500 as well. Pretty certain about that.
Yeah. 19 out of the 19, and there's 6 that are between 200 and 500. I thought there were going to be more new players, but hey, that's all right.
Well, there's definitely going to be not as many new players now.
Yeah.
All things considered.
Yeah. That's rough situation in the short term.
Yeah, it's confusing as to what that is all about. I've been trying to figure out, trying to get a feel as to what that's all about, but I don't know. Maybe it's good that, if there's something a little serious, that it's not, telegraphed everywhere, if you know what I mean. But hopefully it's a temporary thing. Hopefully it's something that's a bit of a false alarm. But you never know.
Just looking to see if they've feigned any direction today on actually giving patch notes.
Yeah, I mean the patch for the PTR kind of went through a little earlier today. Literally about 15 minutes ago, I think, finished. Maybe I'm not sure whether it's still actually going or not. But yeah, there was patch. There was essentially a patch for PTR. We'll go through it in the actual show, but yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you never know. That it may be to curb the creation of bots and stuff, but I kind of hope that they have something a little bit more targeted than just, disabling player creation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's got to be a specific reason behind it. It had to cause something. It had to be the epicenter of some issue. So that'll be very interesting to see what they do on this one.
Okay. Okay. So
or
it's not bot related,
it
apparently.
could just be a red flag, or a false flag like last weekend, where it went down for, they took player trading down for a little while.
Mm.
And of course, within 3 hours they brought it back because they realized it wasn't actually. They thought they had a dupe. Everything pointed in the direction of it being a dupe, but it was actually a UI bug. And yeah.
Yeah. I mean, typically AGS, disables certain things because of a bug, right? And that makes kind of sense. I that's why I said I kind of doubt that it's to curb the creation of new bots and like new like gold selling kind of characters and stuff. So yeah, like in that kind of sense, yeah, I am definitely with XYO at the moment with this in that regard. It makes sense, it's very, very much consistent with AGS's sort of usual plays when it comes to this sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm. I'm actually kind of surprised the alternative for server transfer other than the free one that was issued. Like, I'm actually a little bit surprised that they haven't started offering like a low-cost version or low-cost, server transfer. I know they don't want people jumping around too much, just for stability reasons, but it surprises me.
I think they just want to, yeah. I think maybe they just want to, make sure that certain aspects of that is solid. Or there's fewer reasons for people to go and do that before they actually start like selling that, if you know what I mean. I know that there's I think there's a few server transfers, or not server transfers, some server mergers that still haven't gone through because of certain outlying issues. So I guess to some degree that might also play a factor into it. Like if you haven't gone through a server merge yet, then you probably shouldn't be offering people server transfers for cash, right? It would look bad. Yeah, bots have been getting a little bit more advanced, I would say. There are ways and means to be able to determine whether it's actually a bot or whether it's a player. Like the ones that I've interacted with, some of them interestingly have been caught on walls, and they're just literally running against the wall, basically like moving around. Like those are the ones that you kind of think are like they're probably the entry sort of like non-premium bot package or whatever the hell they they market them as or whatever. But some of the other ones that I've got that I've kind of got to see are basically they run around obviously collecting various different things, fighting off NPCs. A lot of them generally tend to prefer the hatchet because of the various different perks and abilities to it that allow them to essentially gain health without having to use health bots, that kind of thing. But even so, some of them use health bots, and you see them use health bots. They teleport back home, back to one of the houses, like when they're full of materials, that kind of thing. Like they're very good at being able to blend in with players, but there's ways of essentially making them appear as though they don't play. Like especially if they're like collecting stuff, they're collecting things like or especially like fiber, that kind of thing, especially the higher level fibers. You can essentially just stand right by the node, and they'll they'll do one or two things. They'll either run at it, and then as soon as they get to it, they'll run past you, even though you're not actually collecting it. Or if you're constantly trolling a single bot doing that all the time, they'll eventually flip and start basically collecting it regardless of whether you're there or not. And in that instance, what you do is, like, just before they get to somewhere that they're actually something that they're actually going to collect, if you collect that, if you start collecting that, it'll literally get to it and try and collect it over and over and over again until it's gone, and then it will start moving to the next one. And those are two, like, verifiable bot behaviors that obviously, you know, as a player, you wouldn't do. You know, you wouldn't stand there while somebody's collecting something trying to collect it over and over and over again. And you wouldn't, if somebody's standing by a resource that you want to collect, just run past them to another node, even when that person is not actually collecting that resource. So, you know, those are two...
Or run to nodes that have already been mined.
Yeah, that's the other thing. If you've ever seen, like, somebody run into, like, a bit of a field that, like, doesn't seem to have anything, and then suddenly they, like, 180, and then run another direction, then 180, it's because they're basically going for those fiber nodes, and because they've already been collected, they just run to that node, and obviously they can't, you know, it's not interactable, so they just run to the next one, and it's not interactable, and they run to the next one, and so on until they, you know, run to the next group. But because the nodes aren't there, it doesn't look like there's anything there.
It's even worse than waypoints. It's they're actually reading the game code to determine where the nodes are. So they're setting a pattern of go. Here's this loop. But if it sees anything, it's going to identify and move towards that item. And, you know, check and see if it's interactable, whether it can collect it. And you can, you know, and it's even funnier because you can set it to collect a variety of things at one time. Like, it's oof.
It's true, yeah. And the thing is, to some degree, you can say that it's very easy to sort of to hire admins or to have an admin police the server and see those bots, but, like, just removing one bot does not remove the problem, because, you know, those bots just come back and you know, create a new character, and then you have the same issue again. So you're just constantly, you know, hitting the same wall, hitting the same issue. And I understand, and you know, I'm affected by this just as much as you guys. I understand that, like, you know, when you see a level 60 bot and you're there kind of going, like, how has he not been either flagged or seen or, like, removed? Because, you know, he's spent, you know, taken all that time to get all the way up to level 60 just farming stuff and killing NPCs on that route. Like, it's not because they haven't seen it, it's because they're trying to, as far as I know, right, and this is something that, this is a technique that is done not just by AGS, but, like, you know, just in general when it comes to sort of dealing with bots and bot programs and bot creators, is you ideally want to actually get into the kind of into the sort of, like, the smallest sort of, like, trusted circle inside of those, like, friends of those, like, bot creators, so you can kind of figure out what they're doing, and figure out who they are, and, like, basically kill the issue from the root, rather than just trying to, you know, ban every single bot that you see. Ideally, though, it would be great if they did both.
Yes.
Obviously.
Yes. Yeah. It's definitely rough. Like, there's some other ways that they could do semi-automated checks where they add, you know, false nodes into the game. You know, and basically utilize a false node to go, okay, unless you're reading the game code, you wouldn't see it. and that's where they can go. Okay, hey, here's an obvious bot because normal players can't see this.
Yeah. So I'm kind of wondering, Spartacus, like, what are you trying to actually get? Are you trying to get 600? Like, are you trying to get legendary items from chests? Are you trying to get like really good kind of like really good like resource drops? Like what kind of things? Like because I know that to some degree legendary drops are sort of can be restricted by your level potentially, and if it's resource based stuff that you're trying to get, like that can also be restricted by the resource gathering level that you're at as well as the tool that you're using as well.
So that's a good question. What percentage of players are bots? How would the player count drop if they were all banned tomorrow? I would imagine it would probably actually start to go up. Like it would dip a little bit, because obviously like there's a percentage there somewhere. I saw a creator come out with a statistic where he said it was 5%. I personally think that any creator that thinks that they know enough to guarantee that there's 5% of the player base that's bots has their head fully up their ass. Not gonna call them out.
I mean,
but
I wouldn't quite put it like that, but like, you're running on anecdotal evidence. As a
professional data analyst who has managed data scientists before, I can tell you with a reasonable regard and certainty here that if you give a firm number on something that is not a tangible thing that you can actually have a firm count,
you could be very far off.
You're probably going to be very far off on your margin.
The other thing is, like, there is a reason why, like, data scientists and good statistical kind of reporting doesn't take into account anecdotal evidence, because it's been shown to be demonstrably false.
Yeah. So it's the same thing of like, you walk into a room of data scientists and say, hey, I want qualitative data, and they all look at you like, fuck you coming to us for? Like, because like that's not how data science works. Like qualitative data is just crap. Like there's no actual science to it. There's hardly any way to actually measure it in a meaningful way. Now that said, like I'm not saying that earlier I made a joke about a content creator. I'm not saying that they're wrong, that it's not 5%. I'm saying that their math is probably wrong. That's what I'm attacking, not the actual person. For the record. Just to not start fights with people. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, also, by the way, when it comes to luck gear and like lucky rolls and stuff like that, like there's also, the chests that you're opening also very much determines whether you're going to get something good or not. Because like if you're just opening up like regular chests in like say a starter zone, like a starter region of the game, right? Like Windswood, Everfall, Monarch's Bluff, First Light, that kind of thing. Like those sort of places. Like you're not going to get legendaries out of any of the chests in any of those regions, regardless of how much luck stuff you have on you, or how many trophies you have in your in your houses and stuff like that. So you have to make sure that like you're opening up like elite chests in level 65, level 60 plus areas in order to even have a chance of getting a legendary. So yeah, if you're there's a lot of various different like prerequisites that you have to tick off in order for you to even have the chance of getting that legendary item drop, or whether it's whether it's a weapon, whether it's a piece of armor, or like some legendary jewelry, that kind of thing. Like, yeah. But if you are still having issue with that, what I would recommend is, if you know specifically the item that you're trying to get, I would go on to nwdb.info, literally look up the item that you're trying to get, and it will, the really kind of cool thing about the database is that it will actually tell you who drops it, where that person is, and kind of like the prerequisites as to what you need to tick off to actually, to have a chance in actually having that drop. So, if you're unsure as to what you need to do or where you need to find something, definitely check out nwdb.info. It's actually a really, really awesome service that they have for that one.
Should just showcase that as well, because this is actually super useful, guys. Like, if you're looking for a specific thing, we had somebody come onto the server and we recommended that they get Ill-Gotten Gain, because it's a really powerful item. It's only a tier 4, but it is a legendary. I highly recommend it for many people. But you type in Ill-Gotten Gain. It pulls up this page, tells you exactly who has it. Click on the person, and it'll show you, hey, here's where they are on the map. You go kill that guy a couple of times. I actually got stupid lucky. I actually felt really bad about this too.
You got ridiculously lucky the first time you killed him, having it drop. Like, I realized that I hadn't actually gotten that yet, and I was like, actually that would upgrade like one of my one of my things, which is just shows how like terrible I'm geared at the moment. But whatever.
Well, like, what's sad, it's like we had a guy pop in the Discord who was like, oh, I want this thing. And he was like, I tried for like an hour and a half and I couldn't get it. And like, I walk in there and the first time I kill him, he drops it. I'm like, oh, I guess I'm done.
Yeah, you're a lucky bastard like that. I was there for, I think I must have killed him like 25 times. But the nice thing is, at like level 60, he's pretty fucking easy to kill. Like, you literally kill him and the one next to him, the NPC next to him, and then just go back onto the rock and just wait for his timer to respawn, and then you come back down and kill him again. Like, it's pretty easy to do. Last time I was in there, I wasn't at 60, and I was like, I think I was trying to get it, and for whatever reason, the lighting inside of that cave was kind of like weird and trippy and shit, and it kind of like I couldn't see shit for whatever reason. I died a couple of times.
Yeah, it's definitely, I'm sure like I had it easy on that one, but
yeah,
definitely worthwhile. Like, that's an item that's worthwhile. Or like, if you're looking for a specific, anything really, like, let's say you wanna look for a rapier, when you go, okay, hey, I want the Gravedigger's rapier. Okay, well, how do I get it? It looks like it's patterns. It's got to be a recipe. So that's the only way to get it, is get it to drop the recipe. So the recipe itself has a whole set with it, actually. Gravedigger set. And it's got a whole bunch of different drop chances to it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a quest reward for blight resistance on this one. So there's some cool stuff like that. Like, if you guys are trying to figure out like how people are getting these things, I realize that I'm not sharing my screen. Just showcasing stuff for me, I guess. Just pulled up like Spirit of Oblivion here, and you can see, it's a quest reward for blight resistance. So yeah.
Very nice.
I'll see that you get max trophies on the PTR now. Thank God.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering about that. It's like, especially when you're, trying to test out like a high level or end level kind of crafting, right, on the PTR, having to be like, oh right, well I need to craft trophies, because there's none. I'm glad that they've changed that so you can actually have like those end level trophies.
We're gonna do a full rundown of the patch notes. The patch notes for the PTR, because there is actually some changes that are being made. I believe it went down earlier. I don't know if it's still down right now, but
I mean, they said it was going to be an hour, sure. So like it was down. It was apparently down for an hour about an hour and 40 minutes ago. So if it's not up yet, then they're obviously sort of having some teething issues. But I'm sure. I'm not sure. I haven't checked it, but like
their focus might have shifted based on this other problem. So. I'm sure they're trying to get stuff up for the PTR, because obviously like that's, it's an independent process, but I would assume that this other problem that has caused all character creation to be paused, I would imagine is pretty important.
Yeah, sorry about that, Safa. You can post it now.
But
well, it's a 10-second timeout. Like it was only because it was like obviously you guys have obviously seen other channels that have link protection and stuff like that. It's just to make sure that that's nobody posts a random link to something nefarious. That's all. Nice.
Yeah.
No, it's all good stuff. You're posting something legit, and I could tell that you're posting something legit, so it's all good.
There is a way for us to actually see the message, so like we can tell if it's actually something, or if yeah. I am seeing all these follows come in, so I really do appreciate the support, guys. Follows and subs are the lion's share of why we do this, so thank you guys. Also, I suppose I should take a moment to thank our Patreons, our Discord boosters, our lovely sponsor, New World DB or NWDB.info. I keep saying New World Database, but that's NWDB.info is the actual website name. So make sure you guys check.
It's like we know it's like we kind of all know what the NWDB is actually short for, but yeah, the actual URL is nwdb.info. Because heaven forbid you actually type in newworlddatabase.info. Yeah, exactly, and it's also Googleable, so yeah.
So in other news, in non-New World news, there's a couple of fun things to talk about here. Microsoft is buying Activision Blizzard King.
Just the entirety of it.
Just $70 billion?
Yeah, it's something ridiculous.
Like, I wonder if they know that FIFA is going a different direction and not going to.
I mean,
that's EA.
Maybe.
My bad.
Like
thinking about a different thing.
Yeah, thinking. Yeah. But then again, like you're also thinking.
I'm sure they'll try and buy them too.
I don't know. It's EA, dude.
Yeah.
True. But even so, Activision Blizzard King is a fairly significant, fairly significant company or conglomerate of companies.
Yeah. It's gonna make Game Pass super powerful.
Oh, Game Pass is gonna be fucking crazy. It's gonna be great. The interesting thing is what I'm wondering about Firstly, there's the whole controversy regarding Blizzard and all that kind of jazz. I'm wondering whether they could come in and resolve that situation rather than have the execs at Blizzard and some of the associated Blizzard styled studios kind of screw around with it by not actually doing what they should be doing, kind of thing, not actually dealing with it properly, and with some good moral fiber, because right now they seem to be kind of bankrupt in that regard. Hopefully, maybe this will light the fire underneath them in that regard. The other thing is, obviously, all this bullshit NFT stuff that's going on, and there's companies like Ubisoft that are trying to jump onto that NFT bandwagon. And the nice thing is, I know that I know that the head guy at Xbox basically thinks that NFTs are a really bad thing for games and for gaming. So hopefully that sentiment trickles down to the entirety of Activision Blizzard King. We can only hope.
Yes. Got a fire truck passing me here. So the other thing with NFTs, there's a funny comical story that happened in the last couple of days here. Proof that not even the people who are buying NFTs with a lot of money know what they actually are. As a group decided that they were going to buy an NFT for a book of Dune, believing that it would also give them the copyright and ability to use the intellectual property within that book.
Oh, that was fantastic. It was like, oh yeah, now that we've got this book, yeah, we're gonna make versions of it, and we're gonna produce spin-off kind of sort of series or things like that from it and all that kind of jazz. And dude, you don't own the copyright. You can't just license yourself to run off different things based around it, kind of thing. Just because you have an NFT of it doesn't mean that you can copy it. You don't purchase the copyright out of it. What the fuck?
Yeah. What's even funnier is stupid. That was a $2.9 million mistake.
Yeah.
Not a cheap mistake, and that's not exactly something that you can get back.
And they put down 2.9 on the basis that they could make money off of it, right? In these various different ways that they thought that they could make money off of it. In actual fact, all it is just a rare book of a sort of unpublished sort of side story of Dune. That's all it is.
Yeah.
And obviously it's it's also got an NFT sort of signature thing on it, right? Signature token on it. But that's all it is. That's all it is.
Absolutely. So I think one of the things that I think that we can potentially help sway everybody. I don't think we need to sway anybody on this. I don't know why I'm going that direction with this. We need to tell Amazon that no, we don't want any kind of NFTs. Just ignore this fad. It'll go away, and we can go back to our lives.
Yeah. Look, blockchain tech is an interesting tech. That's fair enough, right? But NFTs aren't what you think they are. They're a nice way for artists, specifically digital artists, independent digital artists, to actually get paid for the work that they do, because that's kind of one of the things the difference between real artists, real independent artists that make physical kind of items that they sell, and digital artists. That's kind of one of the things that has always sort of separated how much worth you can make as a digital artist versus a traditional artist. And that kind of sense is you can't really make items that you can sell realistically, unless you end up essentially as a digital artist just making a portfolio, and then hopefully you get hired by somebody in order to make assets for something, and then you get paid, right? That's kind of how you make money as a digital artist. But as a independent digital artist, you can't really make money, because anything that you make can just be copied and pasted, right? And I now have your work. I don't need to pay for it, right? And that's always been an issue, and that's one of the reasons why NFTs were created, is to give like authenticity to something that's digital. The stupid thing is, organizations thought that they could do that with with like game items and stuff like that, right? Like the things that you get in various different ways, like skins and stuff like that in games. It's like, no, that's not what they were designed for, and they're wholly like just unfit for doing that kind of thing.
Yeah,
just fucking leave it.
Yeah. So I want to have a moment of zen before we dive into the pre, or like the I got to hit the ad button right before the show starts, because otherwise it's gonna cause a thing. But I want to do a quick moment of zen on how much of your brain you have to be missing before this comes out of your head.
Oh.
To tell the truth, many people have told me they see EVE Online as the originator of blockchain games, even if you don't actually use blockchain in EVE. Like, sorry, what? Who said that?
Let me let me meditate on that for a while, because like I'm there was a lot of words said there, and I think a lot of it was just Spiral is bullshit.
Yeah. All right, so I'm gonna quick hit the ad button, so that way we don't get ads for a meaningful distance into the show. The show will start at 7. For those that are subbed, you don't get any ads, so we'll just sit here and chat with you guys till then.
Yep. You get the premium service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good times.
now what premium service do you get? You get ramblings for 2 minutes.
Yeah, ramblings for 2 minutes, or like me sitting here going like, CCP Games should really not let Hilmar in front of a camera or any kind of media. Like, this entire like article, like, I'm convinced that they released it in Japanese. I'm convinced
they do
released it in
Mantu?
Japanese so that people would have to translate it and blame the craziness on the translation. But the reality is that's not the problem. The problem is that this is a consistent behavior from a CEO of a major game company.
Yeah.
Like,
he's
he's
always been that kind of guy who's been looking at like future tech and going like, oh yeah, like maybe this can do that and whatever. And it's like, no, like you're jumping in too early.
Yeah.
Far too fucking early.
Yeah. This is, NFTs are going to be the fad, and, am I 10 minutes early?
You actually were. I don't know why. I don't know why, but I was wholly into that same illusion. By the way, you pulled me into that illusion totally.
Am I going, like, do I need to go get my vision checked? Like,
I mean, if that's the case, then I need to as well. But hey, we got another 10 minutes of the pre-show, and we're kind of good for another, like in terms of ads, we should be good for another hour, or close to an hour anyway.
So welcome back, everyone. Due to being apparently really bad at math and telling time on a digital clock, Apparently, I ran that 10 minutes early, so we got another 10 minutes of pre-show.
I want to say that, like, in actual fact, we were fucking wizards, and we like pulled time back 10 minutes.
Like,
you can believe that if you want.
Bad.
It's not true, but you can believe it if you want. Yeah.
We'd like to think it's true, but
nah.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing.
I'll bullshit with the best of them, I think.
Since we've got 10 minutes left, I can also do a PSA. I'm looking
Don't buy
for the link
NFTs.
here. Not about NFTs, but if you live in the United States,
if I live in the I don't live in the United States,
but the government is giving out free COVID tests. So sign up.
Oh, that's pretty cool. That is
it's actually
cool.
a .gov website. Like, you can validate this by checking news outlets and all that. Like, this is actually a thing. Every household
I still have to
getting 4 COVID tests.
Yeah, I still have to buy mine.
Yeah,
that's really cool. That's really good though.
Yeah,
it's a very good service. Very, very good moral choice there.
I forget exactly
Ethical
which
choice.
brand they're sending. I know it varies between them. They're the rapid at-home ones. So, like, if you do actually pop positive, they're going to want to do an antigen or like an actual
accurate
PCR
antigen
test on you. But, like, if you pop positive, you should isolate and talk to your doctor. Like, politics aside, like, unless you're at the point where you're like, COVID's not a thing, like, if you think COVID's not a thing, then you can go ahead and leave, because clearly you don't believe anything else we have to say. So,
you're gonna have issue with a lot of what we say, clearly.
I get that our show name is the New World Order Show, but I mean, even we're not fallen for that conspiracy. Like,
yeah. By the way, I get a little bit. I would say I do get a little bit triggered when we, release something on YouTube, and like there's that banner underneath that says the New World Order is a conspiracy idea, etc., etc. It's like, oh, Jesus Christ, are we being, are we being kind of suppressed because Amazon's kind of like, or not Amazon, YouTube's algorithm thinks that for whatever reason we're talking about conspiracy theories, where in actual fact we're just a gaming show about a gaming talk show, a news show about New World. Like,
see, like, here's the funny thing. Like, obviously, like, this show is about New World, which has plenty of kind of obvious lore and pseudo conspiracy type stuff to it. And of course, adding on to that, we're going to start covering Lost Ark, which is only going to add to things because Lost Ark of the Covenant, like, let the algorithm finish that sentence for you.
Oh no, I didn't even think of that. Oh, Jesus Christ. Sod it. Why not? Just pile it on. Sod it. Why go for it, man.
Yep.
And by the way,
away from this either.
I just wanted to say thank you very much, Max Scriptoris. You apparently, if you're listening to this and you're in the UK and you're thinking like, oh crap, like, the US are giving out like free testing kits and stuff like that. Apparently, you can go onto the NHS and order like a testing kit to you, like completely free of charge. So, yeah, you can get free lateral flow tests from the NHS in the UK. Yeah. So that's cool. Thank you very much, Max.
Awesome. I know my goal with this whole pandemic thing is that, like, I want to make it through without getting it. Like, that's my goal at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know.
Like,
I mean, I know you have I know you have like the things if needed, to make sure that you aren't getting COVID from people. If you step outside your house, flat, whatever, right? So, but
everybody else is using N95s. I'm over here using N99s.
Yeah, exactly. Although at some point, like, at some point that restricts a lot of your incoming air. So
it's
I imagine it's quite difficult to breathe in that bra. Yeah, I imagine it's quite difficult to breathe in that mask. Yeah.
Oh but yeah.
Oh yeah.
I've also got some other equipment for that, but then again, like, for those that don't know, I'm also an emergency manager, so like it's not prepping if it's my job.
I'm sure that's what you say every single time you go to sleep. It's like, it's not prepping.
Like, I'm one of the few people that, like, you could sit there and go, okay, like, legitimately for your job, you need, you need the ability to get to and from places that are, filled with toxic.
Maybe that's how maybe that's how FEMA should sort of run their their sort of any kind of recruitment ads. It's like, are you a doomsday prepper? Have you thought about doing that, but as a job? Join FEMA.
To be fair, it does, like, the agency's major mission actually isn't disaster response, which most people think it is. The major mission is actually the continuity of government. But people constantly forget that that's something that the agency deals with. But yeah, I'm gonna dive away from that. We got 3 minutes left.
Before the proper show starts. Also, by the way, if you guys didn't know that the season finale and the show finale of The Expanse kind of released last Friday, and absolutely perfect, fantastic series that you need to watch if you haven't watched it already.
When's the next watch? When's the next what coming?
Patch, probably.
Oh, patch, yeah. Good question. I would imagine the events of today have caused them to reconsider putting out a patch. They might still patch and just make sure that character creation is off post that, but yes, everyone gets a free Prime sub every month. So.
If you have Amazon Prime for, like, deliveries and all that kind of stuff, yeah, you get Prime Video that has a whole bunch of stuff, and you also get for Twitch you get a free Prime sub to spend however you want. And it would be wrong of me to say only and every single time that it reoccurs, like, send it our way. But if you enjoy the content and you want to support us in some way, then that's a really good way of doing it without it costing you anything extra. Let's put it that way. So if you feel like it, then go for it.
Yeah.
We would.
Alternatively, if you have
very
a
much
Discord Nitro boost, our server is constantly teetering on that edge of 14. Which is also the edge of having the custom link.
Oh yeah, that's so good. That's been a point of contention for me for a long, constantly.
Yeah, actually, we're down to 11.
I hate having 14, to change that out.
So we've lost our custom link now.
Oh, that's okay. I'll make another one and change it out. But yeah, if you guys. In actual fact, we actually have a fair amount of good kind of emotes and stuff on our server. So hopefully you have seen and used them and enjoy them and like them enough for you to be like, hey, I'll throw these guys a Discord Nitro boost.
With that, it's 7 o'clock. Let's do this.